Step 8. Joining. For this part, you will need the paintbrush that is in your pack, the skewer from your pack, and the wooden knife from your pack. It's also a good idea to have your tea towel handy and a bowl of water. You'll also need a couple of scraps of clay, maybe the ones that you have cut off when you were first rolling out your slabs. This is the floor of your tea light house. There should be a small rectangle and 2 triangles you have cut out before. At this stage, it is important that the clay is at the correct firmness. It should be a tiny bit flexible. If the clay has gone so hard that it won't bend at all, then you can easily revive it by wrapping it in a damp cloth. I showed you how to do this in the previous video. This is how the house will go together. You will have the supports going like this onto the floor, and the facade will join onto the front, like this. The facade will be joining onto the floor like that, so that you don't see the joiner from the front. For now, put the facade away to keep it safe. If you have this around the house, some white distilled vinegar will also be handy, but you can use water instead. You will notice that on the supports there is one short side and one long side. The short side joins onto the floor and the long side supports the facade. For joining, we will be using a technique called score and slip. First, score. Make short lines on a diagonal using the skewer. Then go the opposite direction. This creates a key in the surface. Do the same on the long side. Put the support down onto the floor and gently mark around the outside so that you can see where it goes. Do the same with the second one. Now score the floor. Cross-hatching short strokes one way and then short strokes the opposite direction. You will see that this can bring up some burrs. If your paintbrush is dry, you can use it to brush these away. Now take the spare bits of clay. If you don't have any spare offcuts, then you can just take a little bit of clay from your clay pack. Squash these and work between your palms into a ball. Now make a hole with your thumb so you have a little clay ball. At this point you can either use the vinegar or some water. Pour it into the little hollow. Just a few drops will do. Then use the paintbrush to swirl this around. You will notice the vinegar starts to bubble as it mixes with the clay. If you're using water, you won't see any bubbles, but the water will mix with the clay, creating a kind of paste. This is the slip. Gather it up on your paintbrush and load it on to the part that's going to join onto the floor, which is the shorter end. Make sure not to smooth out the cross thatching. You want to layer this on until it stands nice and proud of the surface. Now press the support down onto the floor. Make sure the floor is well supported. I've got it sitting on my work surface here. The slip should come squishing out from underneath. Make sure this is nice and straight. Get your paintbrush and wipe off any excess slip. Now use the paintbrush to remove the excess slip from the join. What you're actually doing is pushing the slip into the join between the two surfaces as much as you can, and then removing the excess. Now if you'd like the join to be really neat on the outside so that you can't see it so much, use the end of the knife, it's like a paddle pop stick, to smooth the clay upwards and then downwards so that the two surfaces knit together. And then smooth crosswise until the join disappears. You can use dry finger to go around any edges that look messy. Now you notice I was supporting it on the inside with my finger. Just make sure that it is straight. Now join the second support in the same way, and I will see you in the next video to show you how to join on the facade.